when the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois. Have I seen who?
Oh, you don't know this from the 80s? A skate? I guess not. You were like a skate kid back in the. That's Animal Chin, baby. That's Animal Chin.
You've brought this up before. I remember Animal Chin, and I only know Animal Chin because of you. And I should have known better. I should have done. I
wore some good VHS skate videos back in the day. Then
I wore a soccer shirt because it's a soccer show about soccer, and this is Nashville SC.
Two skate movies back in the day that were like it was Search for Animal Chin, and then later on Video Days, which is for those that maybe skate kids out there that grew up that way. There's a great YouTube video out there right now where people go and try to find the place where they drove the car off the cliff in Mexico for Video Days. It's a little insider thing for people to do if they want.
I'm sorry. The rest of us that did not live in California in the 80s and 90s.
You think only people skated in California?
I mean, only you guys were ultra about it though. Like you were extra about skating, and it was too much. Let's just be honest. No, I'm kidding. Skateboard culture, I didn't interact with it that way. But look, I had a skateboard. I thought I wanted to be cool like that. I just, there's only so big I can wear my jeans, and so many Airwalks I can wear, or whatever you guys were wearing at the time.
Airwalks, yeah, definitely Airwalks. Vision Streetwear. Let's see. Do you have Vision Streetwear out where you were? Do you ever hear of that?
Probably. I'm trying to remember those old brands, like the California-inspired brands we thought were cool because they were from California.
Like the Jimmys, where everyone would say Jimmy Z.
Oh man, I don't even know. I don't even know
kind of stuff, man.
Yeah, like Stussy and all that stuff, right? Whatever you guys, I don't know what was going on.
Oh, there we go. But Nathan, he's saying I had an English professor that made us watch Dogtown and Z-Boys. Nicely done. That's a good professor.
You had a cool professor, apparently. Or just didn't want to work. All right, before we dive into this show, and by the way, we are obviously live on a Wednesday night, not a Thursday. We've adjusted a little bit. Live on a Wednesday, and we've got a lot of U.S. men's national team and American soccer stuff to talk about. There are games happening right now in Major League Soccer. If anyone wants to spoil the score,
chat, do not spoil the Galaxy game for me.
Spoil the Galaxy game for Jared.
All I know is it was 2-2, like in the 79th minute. This has potential to be the game. I don't know. I don't want to know. I want to watch it later. Please, chat, don't do it to me.
Nah, I think the chat will be respectful. I don't know. We
sometimes Union fans in the chat. I don't know.
We usually get some Union fans in the chat, so it may be a thing. I will say that. I'm not doing score updates. You're not listening. If you're listening to this after the fact, you already know the scores. You don't care enough that it matters. So I'm not doing that. I do want to point out, I'll mention Nashville's playing tonight. They're playing the Red Bulls. It's halftime. I don't know what's going down in this particular game, but on Saturday, there was a supporters group, an official supporters group, the La Brigada de Oro. Do you know what La Brigada de Oro means?
The Gold Brigade?
The Gold Brigade. The Nashville's one of Nashville's colors is gold. They're the Gold Brigade. They decided to boycott their pregame festivities. They want to have their party because of raids and arrests and ICE detentions that are happening in Nashville. It's a big thing in Nashville. I did a coverage of this on Morning Kick Around just today. As a matter of fact, you can go and look for that on the Morning Kick Around channel. Support us there, please. If you don't already know about Morning Kick Around, Monday, Wednesday, Friday morning, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time. Me and Robert Kerr talking about American soccer, and that's why I have
important for a sport that is so immigrant centric and fan bases.
Apoye La Brigada, like support the brigade. That's what I've got. And it's not just about the brigade. I'm putting La Brigada because they're the ones taking a stand, but obviously support everybody going through this moment that we're having right now. This evil. I'm not going to pull any punches, people. Like I'm not here to make. It's evil. What's happening is evil. And I just want to reach out to that community, let them know we're thinking about them and that we're on their side. That being said, we can have some fun. Morgan says adjacent Union fan.
That's news to me.
No, you know why? You know why?
Oh, because it's just that paycheck.
No, it's not about the paycheck. It's not.
Morgan has done it.
It's because they fired Jimmy Curtin.
Oh,
and he's not really a Union fan.
But didn't they play better afterwards? So come on.
I mean, he did win a supporter shield and take them to an MLS Cup final. I mean, it's not don't hate on Jimmy Curtin like that.
I'm not hating on Jimmy Curtin. That's a fact.
They haven't
team
played
got
better. They've only played They've only played 12, 13 games under Bradley Carnell. Better, whatever. I mean, maybe improved since the end of last year.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm just saying you can't like wipe out the history of
Bupenza,
Jimmy
right?
Curtin. What'd you say?
They didn't need Bupenza, right? Like they.
Are you? I don't think we should. That's very.
What?
Do you know what happened to Aaron Bopenza?
No, what?
Oh no! I don't want to be the one to tell you this. This is terrible. Aaron Bopenza fell out of a balcony in China and died.
What? No way. That happened?
Yes.
Wow. I just said a random player's name. I had no idea.
Last month, he was playing in China and he fell out of a balcony and he died.
Oh my God! I apologize then. Jesus.
How do I pivot?
I picked a random ex-player and I had no idea.
How do I pivot from that? Wow. All right. No more Aaron Bopenza. How about we talk kits? How about we talk U.S. men's and women's national team kits? We are. I don't know. Are we harsh critics when it comes to U.S. men's and women's? I mean, are we like, people don't love Nike and what they've done over the years. There have been some hits. Yeah,
I mean, what's the most recent hit? Do you think is it 10 years? Are they on 10 years like shutout of striking out?
Oh man, I'd have to go and look at.
I think for most people, they're going to go back to the sash, the bomb pop. I mean, I can't. I think bomb pop was probably the last thing that was universally loved. Can you think of a kit since then that was universally loved?
Since the bomb,
every once in a while they may hit one of the two, but I don't think they've ever hit both. Like kits, like the away and the home.
That's probably fair. And I don't think they've done that this time. So this is what we're looking at. Two different kits. This one is for the women only. This is the Brilliant kit. And that's Sam Coffey. As you can see, she's very casual, sitting there next to some Women's World Cup trophies. And a picture.
It's kind of denim adjacent, isn't it? A little bit of that.
That's what I think. Picture. It is denim adjacent, which is interesting because the women did not wear denim.
Mm-hmm.
They did not have the denim kit. That they were very separate back in the 90s. If this is supposed to represent the women, I'm not sure exactly how it's specific to the women, but I guess it's okay they have their own shirt. Of course, it's okay they have their own shirt. Are you? Why did Jason's a Columbus Crew fan, so it's not about a Union fan doing it to you. If Jason did it to you, for anybody who's listening on podcast, Jason Hoover in our chat, noted Columbus Crew fan, has just spoiled the Union Galaxy score for Jared, and it's bad news. It's bad news. The streak continues. I don't think they've blown the whistle yet, at least not on FOTMob. I haven't seen a finished game.
Okay. Don't tell me anything else. I knew it was going to get ruined.
It doesn't look good. All right. As you said, denim adjacent. Again, as I said, it's fine that the women have their own shirt, absolutely. But
I think it's a good looking shirt, especially for the women. I think it's a good look. Yeah.
Here's the combo with you want to see the combo with the shorts, right? So that looks like
I like it with the shorts. I like a brilliant blue like that on the short. I don't know what the socks. The socks can be white, I'm guessing.
I would.
If it's blue, I think that's too much.
No, I think it's too much blue. So yeah, it's definitely going to be white and probably with the same piping that's on this shirt, the same trim. Right now, the other one is there too, and you can see it. And I'll throw this up. This is Christian Pulisic doing the tiger tattoo thing in the Heartbeat kit. Now, Aaron Pimentel on the morning show on Morning Kick Around pointed something out I did not catch the first time I looked at this. Jared, it's called the Heartbeat kit. What do you notice about those lines?
Is it flatlining like they're dead?
Those are flat lines, and it's called the Heartbeat kit.
Why would that be? What the hell?
I'm not sure that's the best one.
I'll say, out of the uniform, this is the one I like the most. I like this one. My only note on it is that I would like it to be a V-neck. I think a little bit more V, like the white one right there next to it. I think would be a little bit better look. I like the pinstripe. I'm a fan. I think that's one of the better kits they've done.
Yeah.
I know I'm in the minority. I know a lot of people don't like that one.
No, you and I are on the same page. You're on the same page. I haven't seen it in person. I haven't worn it. I haven't seen the players wear it on the field. I don't love the dark and dark. If that's the shorts combination, I don't think that's great, but I think it would be hard to maybe like, I don't know what you could do. And I don't think FIFA allows you to wear dark and white in terms of shirt and shorts.
No, if you go blue socks as well, I think all dark like that can work. As a colorblind man, I like having the dark contrast on the field. It helps me.
That's true. That's true.
Sometimes this stuff's pretty rough, but I do think that neckline is the only thing. It feels really tight up there on the neck.
You're right. I hadn't considered that as much, but you're right. They could have done a different neckline, and that.
I even like what is that? Like maybe a quarter collar that's on the white one.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah.
I just feel it, especially if you're going to go with like a pinstripe look, it'd be a little bit more, I don't know, refined. I think.
I mean, even bringing it down, even bringing the collar down to a little bit.
There's just something wrong with the collar, and I thought maybe it was just her. But if you go to the Pulisic one, I think you see it there as well.
Yeah, it's a little too tight.
Yeah, I don't know. Do we have another one? The McKinney one, is that in there?
I don't have the McKinney one, but this is what's fun. What's funny about this, okay, is I like it. My first instinct is I like it. I would probably wear it. I think it's probably very wearable for a fan.
Agreed.
Which I think is a selling point. Let's not eliminate that
You
as
can
a
wear that with
consideration.
jeans.
Absolutely, you could. I mean, you could wear it with khakis, and we talked about this. I like chinos. Wear it with chinos, and it look solid. Christian Pulisic decided to rock it with the chain, which is absolutely how some people are going to rock this shirt. They're going to rock it with chains.
Wait, is his chain on top of his arm?
That's a good. No, I think that's a tattoo. I think it's just
how is the chain of the tattoo that perfectly lined up?
I think they're just.
Are you sure that chain's not draped over his arm?
I'm pretty sure that's on his neck.
That is crazy photography if that's the case.
Although, where does it go the other way? Where is it the other way?
Well, the other way it goes under that fold. In the
fold,
shirt.
Okay, all right.
It just looks like that one side of it is like over his arm, but
and here's Aaron. Shout out to Aaron who pointed out the flat line of the heartbeat. Again, shout out to Aaron, pointing out is Christian Pulisic wearing a cross necklace, but the shirt fold covers it up. Do we think that was photoshopped because the cross?
You think the crucifix was photoshopped in or out?
I'm saying maybe they covered it just to make it not as prominent.
If that's the case, you're not gonna shoot it with the chain on at all. I just think it just fell into the
I know, but maybe Christian was very adamant about his desire to shoot with the chain. Like, this is who I am, brother. Like, you can't ask me to take my chain off. My chain is who I am.
Yeah, maybe. I'm not getting that energy from Pulisic. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing: if you're gonna have the tiger tattoo, it's supposed to go over his face, isn't it? Like,
yeah, this is some weird in between. And by the way, I'm gonna go back to this picture. This is the worst pose ever. Do not do this pose. This is a terrible pose. No one puts their arm on a friend's shoulder that way. Does not happen in real life. That is
hi, friend. I mean, in the wainscoting, the official uniform of wainscoting.
What is this background?
Is that the soccer house, maybe?
I don't know what this is. They moved to Atlanta. U.S. Soccer moved to Atlanta. So
yeah, but soccer house still exists, right?
They do not. Oh, they do not have the lease. They do not. I think.
Oh, really? I thought I would have thought they owned that property. I don't know.
No. I don't think so. I think they whatever this room is. Again, those are women's World Cup trophies behind them. There's obviously pictures of the women's national team through history.
Or is this all dropped in behind them?
That's a good possibility. Remember we watched the Mauricio Pochettino interview, 4-minute interview, and I was like, "Where is this happening between two ferns?"
Mm-hmm.
There's similar vibes here where it's like, what are these backgrounds? What is this photo shoot? What are we doing here? Exactly.
No shade on the ladies here posing. I mean, they're doing whatever the designer, photographer, but I'll say I think this is probably the best. Wait, what's the men's home? Have they released a men's home?
They're sticking with the old one. I don't even. What is it? What is the U.S. men's? Yeah,
I don't know the names of them.
No, I don't mean the name.
I'm not going to remember a month from now. That one's called the Heartbeat.
No,
I've already forgot what the other one is.
It's called the Brilliant Kit. That's what that's called.
My bad.
It's called the Brilliant because it is brilliant.
I think that's the best 1-2 combination that Nike has come through with in quite some time for the U.S. national team. Okay. We'll see what I'll reserve. Did we see what the men's is? Is this supposed to is the Heartbeat one supposed to take us through the World Cup?
There will not be, as far as I'm aware, there will not be a new men's home shirt this year. There will be only the women's home shirt, and then both will wear the dark as the.
So the men are not getting a new shirt before the World Cup.
That's correct. I believe they'll probably they'll drop a new kit for the World Cup. I mean, they could do both.
Okay. That's fine. I'm saying, are they going to be wearing either of these at the World Cup?
No.
The men are not going to be wearing the white. That's the
no.
one, but
believe this is the current home for the U.S. men's.
Yeah, that's not good enough. That's not good enough for the World Cup. It's just so
it's-
vanilla, dude.
It's pretty vanilla. It's pretty vanilla. I mean, they go look at the detail. There's pinstripes on this.
No one cares.
Yeah.
You
I
know,
don't
and
know.
so I hope they go. I'd be fine if that heartbeat kit was one of the 2 choices for the World Cup. I could live with that. But yeah, the white one, they really got to find a way to knock the home out. It's just, and that's the crazy thing is the away one is the one I most often remember as my preferred over the years. I have to go pretty far back to think of a home one that I really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Bomb
Well,
Pop
you
was the way.
remember the double sashes
Red
in
with the sash.
2010, right? 2010.
Yeah,
had
but the red
double
with the sash was the better of the 2.
I like the blue with the sash in South Africa. I did like that. I have this thing where it's like I think red should be our color, and then sometimes I see the red kits and I go, maybe not. Maybe I'm not on board with red being our color. It's just tough because how do you work all 3 in a way? Again, the bomb pop did it. I still like the Waldo. I know not everybody loves the Waldo. But I like the
was that a home kit or was that a away kit?
I think it was a home kit. I think it was.
Okay, because it had 2
I
colors
think.
in it, so I'm not sure.
It wasn't dark, right? I don't remember what the
Connor
white
in the
kit
chat
was.
says Nike design team didn't get the budget proposal in time to have an intern design the white kit.
Okay. Look, again, nothing is ever like
I think Weston was
perfect
wearing a
to our
chain in
liking.
his picture too. Now that I
Weston
think about it.
was wearing a chain.
I think he was rocking a chain as well.
What I didn't bring in, I should have brought. Actually, let me bring in one more photo. Let me see if I can bring in one more photo, because this not only has Mark McKenzie looking real tough wearing the new away kit. This has also got in this one Weston McKinney wearing the jacket. How you feel
now,
about
that's
the
a
jacket?
chain you should be wearing. But even there, okay, so that's a good idea of how high that neckline is. When you look at McKinney's picture, for those of you guys on the podcast, look it up. But McKinney's picture with the jacket on, his chain, literally the collar is above, like that's a high chain. That's not like a droopy chain. That's a pretty tight chain. And
It's
the
a high
collar's
chain.
still above that.
It's a tight chain. That's a tight chain. Are you a tight chain guy, or you prefer like a looser chain?
I'm off the chain.
You're off the chain.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been for
All
a
right.
number of years.
So the jacket.
The jacket's hot though. The jacket's hot.
Pretty hot.
The jacket's hot.
So the jacket is a statement though. So this is where we are sort of in, and this is how I think about it now, because there was a time, and look, I'm a 45-year-old man who does soccer radio for a living. Like I'm not buttoned up, you know. I'm not living a sort of conservative businessman's lifestyle. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like, I
you
don't
rock the chinos
what I'm saying that because that's a style choice
with a nice pleat.
No pleats and what are you talking about? Pleats? I'm not rocking pleats. There's no pleats over here.
You look pleated.
I could rock pleats and I would look good in pleats, but I don't rock pleats.
Okay.
I would say, I can maybe not get away. I'm not gonna say get away with it. That's like me saying like, I'm such a style mate. No, or like I got personal style. I'm just saying like on a daily basis, I can wear a jersey because I don't need to dress up any differently than that to do my job. So maybe I have a different sensibility here, but there is a point where you get to an age and a level of responsibility where like, maybe I shouldn't be wearing the pink and gold and sky blue jersey out to, pick up my kid from school.
There is an age. There's both an age and a weight that becomes a tough thing to do. It's a tough thing. Not every color is made for every body style,
There's some of that. It's then the coloring thing, like, are you a winter or a fall or whatever that is? Warm tones. Like that's a thing. I look better in some colors than I do in other colors.
Yeah.
So that jacket looks good on Weston McKennie.
For sure.
Would it look good on me?
I think but here's the thing. I think that would look good on 90% of the highest rated influencers on Instagram and TikTok who are going to get a free jacket in the mail come World Cup. And it's going to look really good on them. It's going to sell.
Connor is saying that I married a woman from PR, from Puerto Rico. I can totally rock that in the wild. Now, I actually can do it for sure in Puerto Rico. In fact, if I dress like a normal American white guy in Puerto Rico, I stand out more than if I was
no flavor.
If I had some flash while I was in Puerto Rico. So 100%, this would be the move in Puerto Rico, except you don't need a jacket like that in Puerto Rico because it's 85 degrees with.
Yeah, you need it still though. That's how you know it's flavor. Because it's hot outside and you still put it on.
Every time we go to Puerto Rico and I see somebody rocking a sweater, I'm like, you are committed to this style, my friend. Like for you, it's not about comfort. It's about the look. And I
gotta say that jersey looks amazing on Mark McKenzie right there too.
It does.
It's a good looking. It's good looking shirt.
I think it's a good looking shirt. I think it's a good. I think that's a couple of thumbs up, at least on the dark kit, the away kit, the heartbeat kit that has all the flat lines on it. I'll leave that one to you. Thanks to Aaron for making that point. All right, moving on to other topics. Now that we know the misery continues for the defending Major League Soccer champions.
Whoa, we're going to that? That wasn't in the rundown.
No, so you had to know it was coming.
Wait, the season started?
Oh, yeah. Apparently you guys didn't know.
It doesn't start just until we play LAFC. That's when the season starts. That's our first game is Saturday, and I'm sure it's going to, Sunday. I'm sure it's going to go well.
Yeah, rivalry week is upon us. We might have to touch on rivalry week, but I'll save that. A couple of things on the national team front. One that has sort of bubbled up in the last couple of days. I saw Herculez Gomez opining on this. By the way, Herculez Gomez on Morning Kick Around on Friday. I'm anxious to talk to him, but I wasn't going to talk to him about this, but maybe it has to come up. He is of the opinion that Sergiño Dest, having not talked to Mauricio Pochettino, is a problem. Now, let me throw up what is a quote from Dest. I grabbed this thing, I think, from goal.com. He said it on CBS Sports Golazo. I've had conversations with the assistant coach, and they're watching me. We keep in contact, but yeah, it's different. It's different to meet them all in person, be at the camp, be with the players. He's saying he has not talked to Pochettino. This is what Sergiño Dest has told the media, that he has not yet talked to Mauricio Pochettino. And Herculez Gomez is pointing to this and saying, this is another example of why people think Pochettino is not taking the job seriously.
I probably had that same thought to begin with, but as I've settled with that quote and the thought in general, I think a little bit differently about it. I think Pochettino is of a caliber of coach that doesn't owe any player.
You think it's about his caliber?
I think it's about the man. I don't know that Pochettino is used to having to kowtow to a player or like I don't know. I guess it's more business to him than massaging a player's ego reaching out to him.
I don't think that part matters. I could imagine that maybe Pochettino is of that opinion that, hey, I've got a resume, I have achieved stuff. I buy Magnums, son. Like, who do you think you are? I could imagine that could be a thing, but I think this is more cultural than anything else. Like, I just think that Pochettino's the kind of guy, he'll keep an eye on everybody. He'll watch everybody. He'll be ready to call you up. But that man's not going to be picking up the phone and doing, backslapping.
The weird thing is, the odd thing here is that there's 3-4 Americans at that team.
Yes.
So it is odd that in his trips to Europe that he has done, that he hasn't gone to watch and reached out. Maybe he did go there, and Sergiño was rehabbing outside of the city of Feyenoord. I don't know where he makes his home.
Eindhoven, sir. Eindhoven.
Sorry, Eindhoven, not Feyenoord. So maybe maybe Pochettino did go to Holland and missed him. I'm not quite sure, but it is odd.
Again, I guess I don't have a handle on the culture. I thought it was crazy when people freaked out over Berhalter not doing this, and largely it was about dual nationals. When it was Berhalter, before they had declared for anybody, and it's like, oh, you're not doing your job. You're not putting the work in. You've got to hold these guys' hands. You got to make them feel wanted. We've gone through this too many times.
I get that with dual nationals a bit, but for Sergiño Dest, a established player, I think Pochettino, like, when you're ready, I'll reach out to you. And I still think that's odd to me. It's odd. But I kind of understand that, like, hey, listen, you can't do anything for me right now. So I've got a lot of players in this pool. He's got 100 players in this pool. He's got to manage. Now, Sergiño Dest is A tier, within that pool, but he can't do anything for him right now. And if the assistant coach is reaching out for fitness checkups on him, okay. Now, if I'm Sergiño Dest, yeah, my ego's taking a hit. But if there's anything you say about Sergiño Dest, his ego might need a check.
Here's Nathan Poch has undoubtedly seen the video from Trinidad. I'm positive Pochettino doesn't love what he saw from Serginho Dest in that moment. I don't know that Poch is saying, well, he can't come back into my team because of the red card and that nonsense.
I mean,
but I do
got
think
back in, so
it probably means, right? It probably means there's a little bit more work to do. And again, Serginho Dest is not fully 100% back to his old form so much that, and we're a month away from the Gold Cup, right? I know we got friendlies coming up and the 60-man roster drops on Monday. We'll see if he's in it. I'm pretty sure he will be.
everyone's going to be in it.
I mean, that's 60 man. It's going to be everybody. I guess what I'm kind of lost with is like, what does Pochettino owe Serginho Dest? Anything?
I think he owes him a fair look when he deems him being fit.
Does that require a phone call? Is this some sort of courtship situation? Are they
Well,
about?
let's think of something. Someone else coming back in the same way. Who's another player returned to injury that recently came back? You think of anyone? It doesn't matter their caliber player, just someone that would be in the pool. Who's someone else that is coming back from injury?
Malik Tillman. Malik Tillman's in the same team. Coming back from injury.
If Malik Tillman hadn't received a call, would you be as up in arms as you would be with Serginho Dest?
I'm not. I look. It's hard for me to get to a place of being up in arms. Period. Because I don't think any of these players should expect that kind of treatment. I think the national team, and it certainly works this way for Mauricio Pochettino. I mean, I'm presuming there's lots of cultural history that goes with this. It tends to be, look, that's la selección. That's the 23 or 25 or 27 players, whatever it is in 2025. Those are the players we're going to take to whatever game or tournament we're playing to try to win. And all they need is notification that they've been called up.
I guess it's different for Tillman because Tillman's been in a camp or a couple of camps. I mean, Serginho Dest has been so far off the radar due to his injury that is it possible that Pochettino doesn't know who Serginho Dest is?
It's impossible. He doesn't know who Serginho Dest is. Impossible.
Do you think all the players that he sees at the highest level when he was coaching, stuff like that Serginho Dest was on his radar? Before he got the job, did he know who Serginho Dest was?
Did he know who Dest was before he got Yeah, I think he did. Serginho Dest had a cup of coffee at Barcelona. He knows who Serginho Dest is, 100%.
Espresso cup of coffee.
Yeah, I mean, it was a very small one, but it was still there. He had a bocadillo while he was there. But yeah, I guess I just cannot get myself, and this is Connor saying it's different because Dest was a lock in the lineup, and that's that Tillman was not. So when we're talking about players who have been out for injury, here's a player who was previous to his injury and red card, he was a lock in the lineup. You know, does that mean he deserves special dispensation or consideration from Mauricio Pochettino? And knowing what I know about Serginho Dest and his personality, and Mauricio Pochettino and his Serginho Dest speaks Spanish? I actually don't know this. He might speak Spanish.
He spent time in Spain.
It's possible. Well, not a lot. Again, a cup of coffee. It's possible Serginho Dest has some Spanish, and maybe they would communicate that way. But I'm thinking a guy who speaks the kind of English that Mauricio Pochettino does, and the kind of guy that Serginho Dest is the most awkward possible. What are they going to say to another?
This brings up an interesting game. Let's play a little game with this. Okay.
All right.
So I've got
pick your poison. Is it?
No, it's not. I got a list that was put out a year ago. Okay, by Nicholas Mendola at NBC Sports. Okay. And it was the top 50 U.S. men's national team players. And he has them ranked kind of in the most popular, like you would know, to the bottom. I want to go through this and figure out where the cut line is of where you think Pochettino has never heard of a player.
Oh, okay.
So how far down the list of 50 players do we get before we feel that Pochettino had never heard of that player before he got the job?
Okay. All right.
Just quick, throw a number out there. Where do you think we'll get to? What's your gut number?
Or the U.S. men never heard of a player?
He doesn't know who that player is. He doesn't know who that name is.
Probably 25-ish.
Wow, you're more bullish than me. I was going to go more. I'm more in the Connor spot right here with 15. I think
15. All right.
All right. So let's go through. Okay, number 1, Christian Pulisic. Heard of him? Right.
Yes, Dick. Oh wait, hold on. Let me get since I'm here and I got the board up. Let me make sure that I have all of my. Do I have the ding?
All right, get your numbers in the chat. Jackie's got 32. Connor's got 15. Jason's got 20. Let's see what is up.
I don't know why you can't hear my ding. You can't hear my ding.
I wish I had a bell.
My ding's not working.
All right, Christian Pulisic gets a ding though.
Yes, he definitely was.
Number 2, Weston McKennie.
Hold on. Let me try this again. Still didn't work. Weston McKennie. Yes, of course. Yes.
Okay,
Juventus
but
player.
your sound quality went down when you did whatever you did right now. So I'm not sure what that was.
Do it again, and then hopefully
That's better. That's better. Okay. Let's see. Next up, Yunus Musa. Obviously, he was in Europe, England. Arsenal. Right?
Yes. Yes.
All right. Number 4, Anthony Robinson.
Yes, of course.
Ding. Number 5, Tyler Adams.
Yes, absolutely.
Was that
100%.
Leeds? Yeah.
He played in the same. He was in the same league as Pochettino was.
All right. So
England.
number
Yes.
6 right here. So all of our numbers, like even I said, like around 15. Serginho Dest, number 6. Yet the first one that could potentially be a miss here, though, right?
Okay, I got this. Nope, I thought I hadn't fixed it. Go ahead. Sorry. Who's the first one? Who's the first one that could be a miss?
I think Serginho Dest at 6. Like out of all the other ones, like
No, he knows Serginho Dest.
okay,
He absolutely
Okay.
does. I don't understand why you think he might not know Serginho Dest.
I don't know. I don't think he's on the big radar necessarily. You know,
He was one of the hottest right back prospects in the world before he left to go to Barcelona, and that obviously spun him out a little bit. But he was on the radar. People know I'm sorry. I'm not buying that one. You're not going to sell me that he doesn't know who Serginho Dest is.
next one, Timothy Weah.
Yes.
The name, you know the name. Okay,
No,
here's
it's
an
not
interesting
even
one.
just the name. He knows the player.
Do
He
you
knows
think-
the player.
Do you think he knew at number 8 Johnny Cardoso before he came to the US
That
national team?
one is a little dicey because Cardoso was still in Brazil.
No, he was at Betis when he took the job.
No, that's true. But I'm saying like prior to that,
Yeah.
when Pochettino was coaching in England and in France, not he was maybe on some more European club
This is a
radar.
tough one because I think Cardoso, there's some kind of ranking here, and I think he's too high because I definitely would say that a few players after this, we may have to let's put an asterisk by Johnny Cardoso because I feel he's out of order here in terms of name recognition. I think this was probably more of a rating. So yeah, he has it as a ranking, like best players in the pool. So let's go passive, but this could be an asterisk for us because I think Johnny might be out of place on this list.
Hey, I got it.
Oh, watch out. Number 9, Giovanni Reina.
Yes, of course.
Number 10, Folarin Balogun.
Yes. At Arsenal, all this stuff. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Number 11, Tim Ream. Absolutely knows who Tim Ream is.
Of course. Again, we
Okay.
have a Premier League player when he
Let's-
was. Yeah.
Let's start getting funky now. Okay, now I think this is where Cardoso probably should be in this area, down the 11 spot here. But
Okay.
I'll keep going. Let's keep Cardoso as a wild card right now. But do you feel that he knows he knew who Luca Della Torre was before he took the job? Playing at Celta Vigo at this time.
No. I don't think he knew every player in La Liga, even though that's a top league. So I'm
Yeah.
going to say,
And
okay, it depends, I guess. There's okay, maybe instead of like yes or no, I would say there's probably a 25% chance he knew who Luca Della Torre was.
it's not slam dunk though. I think everyone else here, other than Johnny Cardoso, I think Cardoso and Luca Della Torre in a similar spot. Cardoso was doing bigger things at Betis over the last year, and at the time he got the job, than I think Luca Della Torre was. Obviously, Luca Della Torre was at what was it? He was at PSV before that. Was he at Feyenoord before?
He was at Heracles.
Heracles? Oh, you're right. Yeah, okay. All right. So next one. Now this one is, I would say normally it would be a no to this, but because of the pedigree of this player, I'm pretty sure that that Pochettino knew who this was. Cameron Carter-Vickers.
Yeah, like a Tottenham player.
Tottenham
Tottenham
youth player.
Yes,
Yeah. So
yes,
I mean, there's a reason why, but outside of that, it would probably be a no there. This one, I think this one's a yes, actually. Matt Turner. Backup keeper at Arsenal.
Was bouncing around. Yeah, I think that's probably
I
fair.
think it's a good chance. It probably saw him in the World Cup as well. He was a starter in the World Cup. That's something we haven't talked about with these players, is that he would have seen a number of them in the World Cup potentially in 2022.
Yeah, if he was watching the World Cup, like most.
If he's
all soccer
Argentinian,
people.
of course he's watching the World
No,
Cup.
that's not what I mean.
You don't watch every game though. Yeah.
What I mean, every was he watching USA England?
But USA played
Probably.
England. Yeah, exactly. Next one up. This is an interesting one. Ricardo Pepi.
Yeah, I think so. Ricardo Pepi was like enough in sort of this like top 20 young goal scoring prospects kind of vibe. I think he probably knew who he was.
Okay.
Where was he when Pochettino got hired, he was already in Holland. But
Yeah.
before that,
Yeah, he was at Eindhoven then. Okay, and then next one, Josh Sargent. Probably bouncing around the championship.
Yeah. Same country, probably would have heard about him, seen a highlight of Norwich or something. Yeah,
where,
I think
where was he? Was he at Bremen? Was that where he was at in Germany?
He was at Bremen, but that's 4 years ago at this point.
Yeah, that's a long time ago.
Right?
Yeah, next one, Malik Tillman. So again, kind of like okay, for sure. I had Bayern Munich.
He was a Bayern Munich product. Yeah, but he went on loan in Germany before going to Holland. So yeah.
Now we're getting back into that tier that we're talking about with Luca Del Torre and Johnny Cardoso. Joe Scally, starter at Mönchengladbach. Middle of the Bundesliga table, gonna be in regular starter.
That was
it's iffy though. It's iffy.
Dicey. It's maybe a little bit higher than Del Torre, but not much. Maybe 35%, 40%.
Okay, so I'm just gonna real quick go through there because I think all these guys are gonna be at this next tier. Stop me when you think there's a player that he has heard of. Okay.
Okay.
Haji Wright.
Keep going.
Ethan Horvath.
Keep going.
Walker Zimmerman.
Keep going.
Gianluca Busio.
Yes. I would say Gianluca Busio. Yeah.
A Serie B.
Yeah,
player.
but they were in Serie A like 2 years ago. So
okay.
I think he probably would have heard of Busio. I think he would have heard of Busio.
Which one do you think he'd heard of more, Busio or Tessman?
Busio.
Okay.
At the time. I'm not.
The only reason I'm going down here is I think there's one here he will know, but it's pretty far down. It's going to be number 25. Kevin Paredes.
No.
Next one, Brendan Aronson.
Probably.
He's at least scored against Chelsea.
Yeah. He would have. Yes. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. So I think that's the line right there. I mean, the line's actually a bit. I think that we got to 12 before we got Luca Del Torre. So it was higher than we thought in terms of, but there were a few guys down below 12 that he probably heard of. But I think legitimately Luca Del Torre and or Cardoso is that line around 12 where Pochettino's like, who?
Well, so what the point is that he had to learn about the player pool. Every coach does when they step into a job.
But I think the USA has way more than that than the average country that would be that Pochettino would find himself coaching.
High profile country. Yes, I think that would be fair to say. Right. The US exists in this weird bubble area between the Brazils,
like
the
Max
Argentinas,
Austin
and
Luca. Diego Luna are getting starting minutes and like significant minutes in meaningful games.
Yeah, I don't think he was aware of Diego Luna until he started watching MLS once he got the job. I think that's probably a fair statement. Max Austin is the same deal. Yeah, absolutely. Now here's the question I have, because this got brought up over the Athletic last week. And again, what kind of team is the team to take to the Gold Cup is this kind of weird floating question. We know that players like Timmy Weah and Weston McKennie and presumably Gio Reyna, unless he makes a move ahead of the Club World Cup, which is starting in a month, those players are not available to Pochettino.
Mm-hmm.
Their clubs do not have to.
I could see Borussia Dortmund leaving him off.
It's very possible that Giovanni Reyna does not make.
You don't want him to get hurt, and then you don't get to sell him in the summer.
But they can still, I believe, deny the call up regardless, because I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. By the way, Francis Frank wants to bring up Diego Cochin, who was in the academy of Barcelona. So I don't think that's a reach to imagine that he would know who Cochin is.
Because cool though,
because of Barcelona. So the question is, should Christian Pulisic, and you can throw in a Jedi Robinson if you want because of the number of minutes he played for Fulham this season, should they skip the Gold Cup?
Wait, you're making it sound like the player has the choice.
Should they be left out of the Gold Cup?
Okay.
Or should they? Well, it's going to be a back and forth. I think that if you ask these players, they want to play. They want to be with their team. They want to compete. They want to get this team back on a good footing before the World Cup next year after what happened in the Nations League. But there's also this question. It's been a long season, and you're coming off, and you want to be as fresh as possible next summer. And if you play through this summer and go right into the new European season, It's a lot
Well,
to ask.
there's a thing here, I think, for the first time, and I'd be interested to know Herc's thoughts on this when you have him on Friday. Is I think for a long time, U.S. players looked forward to national team duty, and I think for the first time in a long time, some of these guys it's not like there's good vibes and the good results at the national team level right now, and they're getting called out for certain things in terms of passion and effort and stuff like that, where so for some of these guys, they may not look at the national team like as the honor. And I still think it's an honor. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a bit of more of a burden for them and annoying for them than maybe in the past. I think the U.S. national team for a long time was a good time, feel good time to get together the boys and try to put one over on a big team somewhere. When you've lost consecutively to Panama and you've crashed out of the last two tournaments, I think that there's some tough expectations for them for the first time in a bit. And B, I don't think any player gets the luxury of skipping this tournament when you didn't play well at the last two tournaments. If you had won Nations League and you had made it to the quarter or semifinal of Copa America, yeah, I get it, bud. Time served. Rest up. We need you ready for next summer. Take this time. Go healthy into your season. But right now, we've got a year to a World Cup, and the team is on a slump, not on the rise right now.
I agree with you. I wish I was on the other side of this just to have some sort of debate. But I've seen lots of people. No, he should not play, meaning Pulisic. He's too important.
I get it in a vacuum. In a vacuum, I understand that. Like, he's coming off two fantastic seasons at AC Milan. He's done his effort, put him in bubble wrap, keep him going for next season, keep that train rolling. But that's not where we're at.
I agree. I think that, unfortunately, there are extenuating circumstances in terms of the time you need together with the best possible team you can call up. And yeah, I know that Weston won't be there, and I know that Tim Weah won't be there probably, and I know that takes a lot away from the general feeling that this is a full squad, an A team going to try to win a Gold Cup. But you don't go, well, Weston's not here, so I guess we just leave Christian off. No, you just like in any tournament, right? Because if this was the World Cup next year and Weston McKennie wasn't available, you wouldn't go, well, I guess that means no Christian Pulisic if he's healthy. No, you would say, we're taking the best team possible. We've got to figure out a way around the Weston McKennie problem or around the Tim Weah problem. By the way, Weston McKennie might be not a first-team player, a first-choice player, and maybe you could learn something
I think it's
about
more
that.
Musa than McKennie.
It probably is Musa. But what I'm saying is you may learn something about your team by having Christian Pulisic there, but not Weston McKennie. And again, you should take in every competition you play. Now, friendlies, I'm a little less firm on this, but in every competition you play that is of some meaning, that has a trophy available at the end of it, you should call up your best team. The best team you can, period. And that's even if you're not hosting a World Cup next year. Everything, man. That's club
Superliga?
Football. That's none. Superliga is dead, man. Dead. But you're old.
Hey, by the way, speaking of Weston McKennie, though, maybe not having top spot in the team, you see that dime he put up on the weekend? That cross into the middle for was it Koulibaly? I think that's who finished it off on the other end. A sweet, soft chip shot into the head, perfectly served. I mean, when Weston McKennie wants to do stuff, he can do some things, man. We don't give him credit for the elegance he has as well.
He's got skills, man. I really do like Weston McKennie as a player.
He's a good one-touch player.
Just doesn't always work in the national team system, and that's true of everybody. Right?
I just think there's the movement around him and some of the intelligence, the way that you play in Serie A and in Juventus, that runners off of him, like give and go. Like, he's so good at that in traffic.
And I suppose that you're right. It's also about the team you have around you. Like, it, as much as it is like, oh, he's a very good player, in a vacuum, he's not a player who's going to win games by himself. He's got to have players around him that can help him do what he's good at. And maybe that's easier at Juventus than it is with the U.S. men's national team. But again, this is what Pochettino's being paid $6 million a year to do, to figure it out. And
is he failing?
It's incomplete. The grade is incomplete at this point, But if
But
you
if you had to give him a grade, a letter grade right now,
if the class ended today, it would be a failure. Yes,
I say D.
I think so.
I say
Do
D.
you think D?
Yeah.
But why? What is about what keeps him just above the fail line for you?
I think it's time spent with the team and the amount of windows that he's had. I think it's going to be hard for any team, any coach to get stuff together. I think take for example, what are you playing? Take for example, like I don't know if he knows Gio Reyna as a player enough to figure out that he probably needed minutes in some of those games in Leagues Cup. I think there's things like that where like the first time he got to see Gio was in the practice that week. And I think because he had the cupcake, he may be over prioritizing some of the relationships that he saw in that camp because he got a good 2 weeks with those guys. So I think there's some recency bias, and I think he doesn't have the long-term experience with some of these players to have accurate representations of them. That is not a cop-out to say that he gets a whole pass. I'm giving him a D still. I think that's the only thing that's keeping me from being a failure.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, incomplete. Here's what the reality of it though. Nothing is going to change when it comes to the head coach before the World Cup in 2026. U.S. Soccer is not going to hit eject on Mauricio Pochettino before the World Cup, no matter what happens in the Gold Cup. The Gold Cup will not matter for that. It won't, if they don't win the Gold Cup or they're not in a final and playing tooth and nail against Mexico, whoever, in the Gold Cup, it will only reinforce the idea that he's not the right guy for the job. But unless he walks away, which is, by the way, part of the story, right? The reason that we brought up the Dest thing is because Herc and some other people might see that as, well, Poch isn't invested. And if he's not invested and he sees this thing as ultimately maybe going to be a black mark on his resume because they fail in the Gold Cup or he doesn't think they're going to be good enough in the World Cup, and that's on him as much as it's on the players, then he might just dip out. Hey, whatever. I'll just go take some time off. Now, he would probably be losing out on money at that point. But
by the way, now we're talking about like Poch and after Poch. Has anything been announced with Steve Trundle yet as to why he's leaving or where he's going at the end of the season? Have you heard anything on that?
No, there's been no developments. Obviously, he's still on the job in LA. My understanding is that Hanover currently has an interim situation, and it's very possible that this is, coach for a while in LA.
They're going to start the season with an interim and wait for Steve Cherundolo.
I think it's possible as Steve
is the mayor of Hanover.
I don't think he finishes the year in LA. That's my gut. My gut is that he walks before the end of the
I think
LAFC
that's a possibility. And the other thing I like the idea of is U.S. Soccer. What?
You know who's waiting around for that job, right? A guy that people have been saying should be, who should be Ante Razov, who's been
I love that idea. I love that idea.
If I was an LAFC fan, I wouldn't be mad at it. I would not be mad at it.
Here's the other thing I would say. If U.S. Soccer is listening, go grab Steve Cherundolo, commit to the next 4 years with him, and add him to the assistant coaching staff for Pochettino to get his feet wet and help transition the team through the World Cup. You're the guy. You're the next guy. Bring him along. Is that insulting to Pochettino if you do that?
I think Pochettino is the man in charge. I don't think you can mess with that dynamic. I don't think
do you think U.S. Soccer and Pochettino think there's any chance he stays on after this?
No.
You owe it to the team to be exercising the best possible situation you can.
I don't think that's how it's going to work, though. I don't think it's going to be like a baton passing situation. Nah, I don't think that's going to happen.
Will Steve Trundle wait after this season for the U.S. job?
Steve, I'm going to tell you right now, Steve Trundle will not be the head coach of the U.S. men's national team after the World Cup. He will not. He will not be. He's going to go back to Germany. He wants to go back to Germany.
I'd love to see that for him. I would love to see that for him as a Steve Cherundolo fan growing up.
What I mean is not, hey, he wants to go be the head coach, the manager at Hanover 96, which I'm sure he does. I'm not saying he doesn't want that. What I'm saying is at this point, it seems pretty clear. He thinks, I've done my tour in America. My kids want to go back to Germany. My wife wants to go back to Germany. I'm going to take them back to Germany, and I'll figure it out when I get there. Maybe there'll be a Hanover job for me, or maybe I'll be an assistant on somebody's staff in the Bundesliga. Yeah. I think he's kind of lining that part of it up. I don't think Steve Trundle will be head coach of the U.S. men's national team.
Do you think Steve Trundle has the ability to potentially be the best international club coach the U.S. has made?
Oh man.
Because right now, who gets that?
It's a
Does
low
Jesse
bar
Marsh
right
get that?
now. Matarazzo has had some ups and downs, but he's done some things in Germany. He counts. Absolutely counts. Phantom Frank is bringing him up. Who's better, Trundle or Matarazzo? I don't want to do
So
that right
it's
now.
not Chris Armas then.
No, I don't think it's Chris Armas.
It's just the coach of Manchester United.
I mean, he was. But in terms of the guy who had the top job, what does that look like? Man, that's sad to think about. What does that look like?
What
Is it it's Jesse at Salzburg, right?
That's probably the highest level that a coach like most I would say hype that an American coach has had in Europe before.
A level of success. Nobody's saying the Austrian league is a great league, but a level of success and a level of respect that nobody else has gotten. Right?
He made Erling Haaland.
He had a hand in Erling his Haaland, bringing him through. He did. He had a hand in that. I think that's a fair statement. Absolutely a fair statement. All right. Look again. I think Pochettino is under some pressure. I don't think U.S. Soccer is going to fire him regardless. I think you take your best team, and I find it very difficult to imagine that even Pochettino is going to think. Well, then again, he sent McKennie and Pulisic home when they went to Guadalajara, right? When that was a friendly.
Yeah, he did. I feel like he was trying to start things off on the right foot, manage their conditioning and their game, their minute toll. I don't know that you can keep doing that though, especially as you're going to have so few windows to test this team. And speaking of, summer fixtures are just announced. Okay, so if you were going to prioritize Pulisic and McKennie or these A-level players, is it Gold Cup or is it Korea and who else did we get?
Japan.
I
believe it's Japan. Those are September. So before the Gold
Turkey
Cup
as well.
Before the Gold Cup, you have Turkey and Switzerland. After the Gold Cup, you have the now announced September friendlies, which are Japan and Korea. I don't know.
Is that too many games to bring all these players to?
What do you mean? No. What are you talking about?
I mean, we're talking about 4 games plus the Gold Cup through the summer.
Well, that's 2 games before the Gold Cup.
Yeah,
which they don't have to play 90 minutes in because they're friendlies and they're warm-ups. Okay. Then potentially the 3 group stage games and whatever happens in the Gold Cup, which could be 7 matches. I mean that could be a
the Korea and Japan, those are both the US. Were the Switzerland Turkey games in Europe or were those here?
I'm trying to get the internet to work. The internet's not working.
You're talking to me, so it's working.
I believe that's true, but I blame Google for giving me AI results that I don't want. I believe that's so. The USA Turkey match is at Rensselaer Field in Connecticut. Okay. The USA Switzerland match is at Geodis Park in Nashville, Tennessee. The USA South Korea match on September 6th is at Red Bull Arena. By the way, quick trivia. Who remembers the last time the United States men's national team played at Red Bull Arena?
Ooh.
Anybody?
I do remember them playing there. It was wasn't there a World Cup qualifier?
There was. Do you know who they play?
Man, Guatemala?
Costa Rica.
You
know what the score line was?
Oh, was it 3-0? No, 4-0.
No, it was 2-0 to Costa Rica.
Oh,
Costa Rica beat Bruce and the national team
right
2-0. I think that was 2017.
That was the setup for the Tobago game, right?
That was the setup for the disaster that was missing on the World Cup in 2018. The USA-Japan game on September 9th is in Columbus at lower.com.
Ohio always got to get a game.
Was that the Klinsman? Was that the game that Klinsman? I thought it was 2-0. All right, whatever. I don't know. Anyway, people are saying 4-0. Jackie's saying 4-0. I think it was 2. Either way, was that Klinsman's last game or did Bruce coach that game?
I think it was around there was the time where that started falling apart. I just can't remember. I think Bruce not lose a game until the Trinidad. They just had a bunch of ties that they shouldn't have tied. Was there a loss in while Bruce was in there?
I don't know. I don't know. Somebody got the full history. They can bring me the full history. Okay, Jackie was guessing. I do think it was 2-0. What did I say? 2017 is what I said. That was the last time that happened. September 1st, 2017 at Red Bull Arena, 2-0 to Costa Rica. Marco Urania with
Well,
both
if
goals.
it was September, then that's probably Arena, right? Because they only do qualifiers through the next month after that. I think that's when qualifying was over by October?
Yeah, this was not the same as 2022 because we had the issue with COVID and pushing
Yeah.
everything back, right? Is that what
Yeah.
went down?
And also,
I
it was
do not-
a winter World Cup as well as 2022.
I do not have the I cannot bring up who was managing that team.
Okay.
I mean, actually, here it is. This is actually a preview of it from Stars and Stripes.
Oh,
The United States. Okay, yeah, 6 games into the hex. 6 games into the hex. Then that
so
was
9 games
probably
total in the Hex. No, it's 12.
yeah, I mean, there was Bruce. Bruce was the guy in charge. He had already been
Okay.
because they lost the first 2, and that's what. And then Klinsmann got fired. I believe the first 2 were Costa Rica and Mexico away.
Yeah,
That's so. I'm talking.
really
so
put
this
that
is
out
what,
of my mind.
That's what Jackie is saying. In Costa Rica, it was 4-0. That contributed to Klinsmann losing his job, and they lost in
Oh,
Columbus.
is that the Timmy Chandler meltdown game? Like when he melted on the field?
It might be, but they also lost in Columbus for the first time since Dos Aceros started, since La Guerra Fria, since before La Guerra Fria. So they had lost both those games. One of them, obviously, ending the run in Columbus. And again, I think that because we always said you and I were at the last Dos Acero, in Columbus when Landon Donovan scored his final goal for the U.S. men's national team.
And Clint Dempsey took one for the team and missed a PK to keep it 2-0.
Missed the penalty
And
on
we
purpose.
give him the outright lead as the all-time American goal scorer.
Do you think he knew at the time that would be the moment when he missed out on?
I don't think he missed on purpose. I don't think he actually missed.
No, he definitely did not miss on.
I think Clint Dempsey's got way too
much
much like ice in his veins to.
No, and my understanding is that in addition to maybe just being a very competitive guy who wants to beat out anybody he plays against or competes against or what plays with, he also is not a fan personally of the guy he shares that goal scoring record with. So
I don't know. I saw them all talking on CBS Sports, and they looked like they got along okay.
They're professionals. They went on television and pretended, and you're like, that's totally real. I believe they're complete buddies. They're great. Okay. No, definitely think he did not miss that on purpose. Back, we were on the other end of the field.
But
So
to answer your question, so you think if they play Gold Cup, they play all these games?
The A squad, the best players you have.
I think maybe you bring them for Turkey, Switzerland, Gold Cup, release them and do a different maybe group at the back end.
That's if you want to rotate a bit in September. It's not directly from the Gold Cup into the September friendlies. I mean
they'll be with their teams by then. They'll be starting their seasons.
They'll be starting their seasons back in Europe. So
I think that's a reason to maybe leave them is to help establish them with their teams.
Possibly you could leave them there. I mean, Pulisic doesn't need to be established at AC Milan. AC Milan needs to figure out who their coach is going to be and sign some better players. That's not about. I mean, I don't think you. Look, if I'm thinking about the national team first, there are limited windows and limited games before the World Cup in 2026. You will play no competitive matches after the Gold Cup before the World Cup next year. None. Everything else will be. They'll all be friendlies, Jared, because you're not qualifying. Now, I've seen somebody propose the idea of like a 3-team mini tournament with the United States, Mexico, and Canada, which could be a thing before the World Cup.
Sure.
I don't know. You probably want to see other teams if possible, but I guess if you have nobody else to play against,
not much of a chance.
Might as well.
I guess all the teams are looking to get some more games directly before. Like we're talking
directly before, but not. It's usually not like, oh, there's a window in
Let's talk real quick about Pulisic and AC Milan and Musa by for me on the field, I really think it's time they move on from Teo Hernandez. I just don't think. I think their defense has been atrocious. They've gone under early consistently. That whole back line, even Kyle Walker doesn't look any good.
Oh, he looks terrible. Terrible.
Chow hasn't looked good. I mean, it's all over the place. That back line. If I'm AC Milan, I'm starting there, and I think Teo Hernandez is just too drunk on his own Kool-Aid, thinking more about going forward than actually being buttoned up in the defense. And so I think that's where they start. I think their offense, they're not going to have João Felix. He was didn't have a buy option, which is probably a good thing. I don't think you need him anyway. But I think their offense can manage with what they have, but they've got to restart with that defense.
But they're talking about there's rumors out, and I think if City comes in with that offer, it's going to be really tough for AC Milan to hold on to him. Tijani Reinders might be leaving. and he's been outside of Pulisic. He's been their best player this season.
Yeah, this
So
season. Yeah.
that is a hole they would have to fill, and I don't know where you're not turning to Yunus Musa to fill it. He ain't ready for that based on what we've seen this
Fofana's
season.
not that it doesn't have the ability to go forward like that.
No,
I mean, there has been talk. There's been times where they have had Pulisic in that hole, underneath, not so much as a true midfielder.
But see, this is the thing. Conceição fucked it up when he started playing João Felix in that position and pushing. Well, he started doing things that prevented Pulisic from thriving because he was jamming João Felix into that lineup.
Yeah, so when Christian Pulisic is cutting inside, João Felix is in that spot where Pulisic wants to get that 18-yard left-footed shot off or something like that, which he has done. It's just too much congestion right there. So, but yeah, start with the midfield. João Felix has to go. If Rangers goes, that's big. They've got a big hole to fill, and they just spent a lot of money on Santi Jimenez. I don't know.
They still might need a better center forward option than Santi. I don't hate Santi Jimenez, but I don't think he's a line leader for a Scudetto winning team.
Jovic came down the stretch and just took the job away from him. Now Santi Jimenez has got 3 goals in the last 4 games or something like that, so he's finally
off the bench.
Yeah,
and 2 of those were against Bologna in that game that they probably had no business winning, and then of course they lost today in the Coppa Italia to Bologna.
I think, right?
Yeah, he did. He set one of them up. I mean, Pulisic is clearly not the problem at AC Milan.
No,
right?
no. What the question is can be, how do you help Pulisic?
I hope they get something like 75, 80 for Rafael Leao. I don't know if it's going to be that much. And they turn that around. They sign at least another midfielder, maybe a replacement for Theo Hernandez. You can argue about their back line, their center backs, Malik Chow, who came off injured against Bologna on the weekend.
I didn't see it.
They have some holes. They have some holes. I think Mike Magnan is a fine goalkeeper. You don't have any issue there. Again, Chukwueze maybe rounds into a better player next season.
I don't believe in that experiment much, man. I don't think he's a starter for that team. Here's the thing. In terms of Reinders, people forget last year, Tijani Reinders was not established as the default guy. Ruben Loftus-Cheek was taking a lot of those minutes last season, and he's still with the team now. And I don't know that he's a 1-for-1.
They're getting played together a bit. They're like quite a bit. They're getting played together at this point, and it gives Reinders a chance to get forward. I think, which is that's the idea. Fofana in there, of course.
This is good for Stuart in the chat. Is Theo Hernandez their Dest? I think so.
Yeah, pretty much. Well, Theo Hernandez is an incredible attacking left back.
I just don't know that I don't know. I think his best days are behind him at this point, and I think you could still sell him for a good amount because he's still worthwhile. But I think every year is going to be diminishing returns from here, and I think he's too hectic for that defense. Like it causes too many overloads when he goes forward and things aren't coming off.
Yeah, I can't see how Conceição holds the job, especially so they've got 2 matches left. And when it comes to their place in the table, they need help. They're in 8th at the moment. If they win their 2 games, the best they can do is 66 points. And by the way, I think they have Roma next. Roma, who's in 6th and obviously playing for a lot. So it's not like Roma's rolling over for anybody. They have Roma, and then they have Monza to finish out the season. Monza should be able to beat, right? I'm not saying
all their focus should be on the Coppa Italia at this point.
Yeah.
That's the only thing.
Coppa Italia's done. They lost it today. It's over.
Oh, was it today?
They lost to Bologna today.
God dang it.
Yes, they lost on a single goal. They did not score. Pulisic came off about 80 minutes in. They could not find the goal. They lost that. So they don't have the Coppa Italia. They do not have that way into Europe. Now it's about finishing out with 2 wins against Roma and Monza. Monza, by the way, relegated bottom of the table. So they got nothing to play for at this point. So you're looking at hopefully beating Roma, your season hinging on your next match. And then you still need Bologna, Roma, Lazio, Juve maybe to drop points. I mean,
should Pulisic stay at this team if they're not in Europe?
See, that's a question. I think
that's the only reason that I would think for him to potentially leave, because Milan has been great for him personally, but only him.
Yeah, I think he wants to stay kind of regardless. So this is not a what I think he will do question, because what I think he will do is stay at AC Milan, and probably he should for his form, and for the World Cup next year, because he'll be comfortable.
He'll have a lot less minutes on his body next year going into the World Cup
without Europe. Yeah, I suppose that's. I suppose that's true, but it'll be a very dark place on that side of Milan if they're not in Europe next year. They will not.
Well, it
be
already
happy
is.
about
The enters in the finals of the Champions League, for God's sakes.
Well, yeah, that obviously is something. Yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one because if you are an ambitious player, you want to win trophies, you want to be at the highest level, and people ask Pulisic of that. That's that of Pulisic, and sometimes they don't think he's got the personality for it, which is held against him. Then there are players who would say, you know what, this isn't good enough for me. Sell me to a Champions League club. And yeah, I don't know.
I think that Chelsea time is traumatizing to him.
Probably, and rightfully so. Rightfully so. I don't know. All right, I think we're gonna wrap this bad boy up. Anything? Any other business, Mr. Dubois? Anything else?
I think that's it. Check out Morning Kick Around.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for that. Check out whatever that animal chin thing is. That sounds cool. I don't really know all about it.
Jesus, only has Tony Hawk, Steve Caballero, Lance Mountain. I mean,
Lance Mountain. Is that a wrestler?
Lance Mountain is the funniest skateboarder you don't know anything about.
All right. Definitely need to check in on the funny skateboarder. Yeah. I want to encourage people to. We always forget to do this. Sign up for the Patreon. Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. I believe the is in there. I always say the, and I'm pretty sure it's in there. It is the best soccer show. I'm putting up like regular missives, videos that end up as little podcasts you get into your feed if you have the bonus feed, which I said daily, Davis. It hasn't been daily. My last one was all about being very distracted. So there's some like kind of behind the scenes, Jason's a weirdo kind of stuff in there.
The ADDD?
Yeah, that one. But also, you get access to like the full back catalog of bonus shit and things we've done over the years. And there's a ton of like randomly, I pulled up an old bonus show. I don't know why this happened. Somehow I ended up listening to an old bonus show, and it was 2 years ago, maybe more than that, whenever it was that I went to the Finger Lakes, which was my first wine trip. And you were giving me all these tips about splitting my tastings and asking the staff at various wineries where we should go and all this stuff. And I used those tips then. And then now I've used them again as I've gone to Napa now. So, and
check you out. You give me all the crap about being a snooty wine person, but I'm not going across the country to do it.
I know. You know what my next? I
don't think I'm going to Italy next year to do it though.
Oh, okay. So Europe is on the list, but you know where I also want to go, and I think I can do it relatively cheap. Believe it or not, I want to go to Mendoza. I want to go to Mendoza, Argentina.
Great, but if you're going for wine, I would go to Chile.
Oh, really? Chile's better than Mendoza?
I enjoy Chilean wine more than Argentinian wine myself, but that's just me.
Okay. Well, you are more wine snobby than I am.
But you can't deny that it would be fantastic to go to Argentina.
I mean, to go to Argentina, period.
Especially as a soccer fan,
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would have to I try to mix some of that in. I would have to. Yeah. All right. That's it. We're done. Thank you very much. Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. Leave us a rating and review and tell people that we're here, that we're doing this as often as we can. Hopefully we'll be back next week. I see no reason right now why we can't be back next week. We're doing the mental check we'll find out. So talk to you then. Bye guys.
See you. Is that JTT?
OMFBG13, it's JTT!
Who? We are at DEFCON 1.
Damn, dog, that's in a boat. Can I get a manager? Can I please get a manager?
It was there. Oh, here we go. Soften them up. Hit them. What?
Get to the chopper! Duh and or hello.
Zu viel respect for the Gegner. Zu viel respect for the Gegner.
The Sausage King of Chicago. Calm down, Greg. It's soccer. It's soccer.
Michael freaking Arasco Fiscal.
Jay Rodius.